Republic Act 9646, Section 20 to 45. Section 20. Registration without examination. Upon application and payment of the required fees, the following shall be registered, and shall be issued by the Board and the Commission a certificate of registration and a professional identification card without taking the prescribed examination. Those who, on the date of the effectivity of this Act, are already licensed as real estate brokers, real estate appraisers, or real estate consultants by the Department of Trade and Industry, DTI, by virtue of Ministry Order No. 39 as amended, provided that they are in active practice as real estate brokers, real estate appraisers, and real estate consultants, and have undertaken relevant CPE to the satisfaction of the Board. B. Assessors and appraisers who, on the date of the effectivity of this Act, hold permanent appointments and are performing actual appraisal and assessment functions for the last 5 years, have passed the Real Property Assessing Officer RPAO examination conducted and administered by the Civil Service Commission CSC in coordination with the Department of Finance DOF, and have undertaken relevant CPE to the satisfaction of the Board, and accredited training on real property appraisal conducted by national or international appraisal organizations or institutions/entities recognized by the Board and relevant CPE to the satisfaction of the Board. Those falling under categories B and C shall register with the Board after they shall have complied with the requirements for registration as real estate appraisers, provided that those seeking to be licensed to a new credential level shall be required to take the pertinent licensure examination. Those so exempt under the aforementioned categories shall file their application within 2 years from the effectivity of this Act, provided that the renewal of the professional identification card is subject to the provisions of Section 17 hereof.
Section 21. Reinstatement, reissuance, or replacement of certificate of registration, professional identification card, and special/temporary permit. The Board may, after the expiration of 2 years, from the date of revocation of a certificate of registration and/or professional identification card, and upon application, compliance with the required CPE units, and for reasons deemed proper and sufficient, reinstate any revoked certificate of registration and reissue a suspended professional identification card, and in so doing may, in its discretion, exempt the applicant from taking another examination. A new certificate of registration, professional identification card, or special/temporary permit may be issued to replace lost, destroyed, or mutilated ones, subject to the rules as may be promulgated by the Board.
Section 22. Roster of Real Estate Service Practitioners. The Board, in coordination with the Integrated Professional Organization of Real Estate Service Practitioners, shall prepare, update, and maintain a roster of real estate service practitioners which shall contain the names of all registered real estate service practitioners, their residence and office addresses, license number, dates of registration or issuance of certificates, and other data which the Board may deem pertinent. Copies thereof shall be made available to the public upon request.
Section 23. Issuance of special/temporary permit. Upon application and payment of the required fees and subject to the approval of the Commission, the Board may issue special/temporary permit to real estate service practitioners from foreign countries, whose services are urgently needed in the absence or unavailability of local real estate service practitioners for the purpose of promoting or enhancing the practice of the profession in the Philippines.
Section 24. Foreign Reciprocity. No foreign real estate service practitioner shall be admitted to the licensure examination, or be given a certificate of registration or a professional identification card, or be entitled to any of the privileges under this Act unless the country of which he/she is a citizen specifically allows Filipino real estate service practitioners to practice within its territorial limits on the same basis as citizens of such foreign country.
Article Roman IV. Practice of Real Estate Service. Section 25. Oath. All successful examinees qualified for registration, and all qualified applicants for registration without examination, as well as accredited salespersons, shall be required to take an oath before any member of the Board or any officer of the Commission duly authorized by the Commission to administer oaths prior to entering into the practice of real estate service in the Philippines.
Section 26. Professional indemnity insurance/cash or surety bond. All real estate brokers and private real estate appraisers shall, in addition to the oath referred to in the preceding section, be required to post a professional indemnity insurance/cash or surety, renewable every 3 years in an amount to be determined by the Board, which in no case shall be less than 20,000 pesos, without prejudice to the additional requirement of the client.
Section 27. Acts constituting the practice of real estate service. Any single act or transaction embraced within the provisions of Section 3G hereof, as performed by real estate service practitioners, shall constitute an act of engaging in the practice of real estate service.
Section 28. Exemptions from the acts constituting the practice of real estate service. The provisions of this act and its rules and regulations shall not apply to the following: any person, natural or juridical, who shall directly perform by himself/herself the acts mentioned in Section 3 hereof with reference to his or her or its own property, except real estate developers. B. Any receiver, trustee, or assignee in bankruptcy or insolvency proceedings. C. Any person acting pursuant to the order of any court of justice. D. Any person who is a duly constituted attorney in fact for purposes of sale, mortgage, lease or exchange, or other similar contracts of real estate, without requiring any form of compensation or remuneration, and public officers in the performance of their official duties and functions except government assessors and appraisers.
Section 29. Prohibition against the unauthorized practice of real estate service. No person shall practice or offer to practice real estate service in the Philippines or offer himself/herself as real estate service practitioner, or use the title, word, letter, figure, or any sign tending to convey the impression that one is a real estate service practitioner, or advertise or indicate in any manner whatsoever that one is qualified to practice the profession, or be appointed as real property appraiser or assessor in any national government entity or she has satisfactorily passed the licensure examination given by the board, except as otherwise provided in this act, a holder of a valid certificate of registration, and professional identification card or a valid, special/temporary permit, duly issued to him/her by the board and the commission, and in the case of real estate brokers and private appraisers, they have paid the required bond as hereto provided.
Section 30. Positions in government requiring the services of registered and licensed real estate service practitioners. Within 3 years from the effectivity of this act, all existing and new positions in the national and local governments, whether career, permanent, temporary, or contractual, and primarily requiring the services of any real estate service practitioner, shall be filled only by registered and licensed real estate service practitioners. All incumbent assessors holding permanent appointments shall continue to perform their functions without need for reappointment and without diminution of status, rank, and salary grade, and shall enjoy security of tenure. However, they may not be promoted to a higher position until they meet the qualification requirements of that higher position as herein prescribed. Nothing in this act shall be construed to reduce any benefit, interest, or right enjoyed by the incumbents at the time of the enactment of this act. The appointing authority shall exercise his power to appoint the assessor in accordance with the provisions of this act only when a vacancy occurs.
Section 31. Supervision of real estate salespersons. For real estate salespersons, no examination shall be given, but they shall be accredited by the board, provided that they have completed at least 2 years of college and have undergone training and seminars in real estate brokerage as may be required by the board. Real estate salespersons shall be under the direct supervision and accountability of a real estate broker. As such, they cannot by themselves be signatories to a written agreement involving a real estate transaction unless the real estate broker who has direct supervision and accountability over them is also a signatory thereto. No real estate salesperson, either directly or indirectly, can negotiate, mediate, or transact any real estate transaction for and in behalf of a real estate broker without first securing an authorized accreditation as real estate salesperson for the real estate broker. As prescribed by the board, a real estate broker shall be guilty of violating this act for employing or utilizing the services of a real estate salesperson when he/she has not secured the required accreditation from the board prior to such employment. No salesperson shall be entitled to receive or demand a fee, commission, or compensation of any kind from any person, other than the duly licensed real estate broker who has direct control and supervision over him for any service rendered or work done by such salesperson in any real estate transaction. No violation of this provision shall be a cause for revocation or suspension of the certificate of registration of the real estate broker unless there was actual knowledge of such violation, or the broker retains the benefits, profits, or proceeds of a transaction wrongfully negotiated by the salesperson.
Section 32. Corporate practice of the real estate service. No partnership or corporation shall engage in the business of real estate service unless it is duly registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), and the persons authorized to act for the partnership or corporation are all duly registered and licensed real estate brokers, appraisers, or consultants, as the case may be. The partnership or corporation shall regularly submit a list of its real estate service practitioners to the Commission and to the SEC as part of its annual reportorial requirements. There shall at least be 1 licensed real estate broker for every 20 accredited salesperson. B. Divisions or departments of partnerships and corporations engaged in marketing or selling any real estate development project in the regular course of business must be headed by full-time registered and licensed real estate brokers. C. Branch offices of real estate brokers, appraisers, or consultants must be manned by a duly licensed real estate broker, appraiser, or consultant as the case may be. In case of resignation or termination from employment of a real estate service practitioner, the same shall be reported by the employer to the board within a period not to exceed 15 days from the date of effectivity of the resignation or termination. Subject to the provisions of the Labor Code, a corporation or partnership may hire the services of registered and licensed real estate brokers, appraisers, or consultants on commission basis to perform real estate services, and the latter shall be deemed independent contractors and not employees of such corporations.
Section 33. Display of license in the place of business. Every registered and licensed real estate service practitioner shall establish and maintain a principal place of business, and such other branch offices as may be necessary, and shall conspicuously display therein the original and / or certified true copies of his or her certificate of registration, as well as the certificates of registration of all the real estate service practitioners employed in such office.
Section 34. Accreditation and integration of real estate service associations. All real estate service associations shall be integrated into one national organization, which shall be recognized by the board, subject to the approval of the Commission, as the only accredited and integrated professional organization of real estate service practitioners. A real estate service practitioner duly registered with the board shall automatically become a member of the accredited and integrated professional organization of real estate service practitioners, and shall receive the benefits and privileges appurtenant thereto. Membership in the accredited and integrated professional organization of real estate service practitioners shall not be a bar to membership in other associations of real estate service practitioners.
Section 35. Code of Ethics and Responsibilities for Real Estate Service Practitioners. The board shall adopt and promulgate the Code of Ethics and Responsibilities for Real Estate Service Practitioners, which shall be prescribed and issued by the accredited and integrated professional organization of real estate service practitioners.
Section 36. Continuing Professional Education CPE Program. The board shall develop, prescribe, and promulgate guidelines on CPE upon consultation with the accredited and integrated professional organization of real estate service practitioners, affiliated association of real estate service practitioners and other concerned sectors, and in accordance with such policies as may have been prescribed by the board, subject to the approval of the Commission. The board shall create a CPE council that shall be composed of a chairperson, coming from the board, a member from the accredited and integrated professional organization of real estate service practitioners, and a member from the academy.
Section 37. Enforcement Assistance to the Board. The board shall be assisted by the Commission in carrying out the provisions of this Act, and its implementing rules and regulations and other policies. The lawyers of the Commission shall act as prosecutors against illegal practitioners and other violators of this Act and its rules. The duly constituted authorities of the government shall likewise assist the board and the Commission in enforcing the provisions of this Act and its rules.
Section 38. Indication of the certificate of registration, professional identification card / license number, privilege tax receipt PTR number, and accredited professional organization APO number. Real estate service practitioners shall be required to indicate the certificate of registration, professional identification card PTR number, and APO receipt number, and the date of issuance and the duration of validity on the documents he/she signs, uses, or issues in connection with the practice of his or her profession.
Article V. Penal and Final Provisions. Section 39. Penal Provisions. Any violation of this Act, including violations of implementing rules and regulations, shall be meted the penalty of a fine of not less than 100,000 pesos or imprisonment of not less than 2 years, or both such fine and imprisonment upon the discretion of the court. In case the violation is committed by an unlicensed real estate service practitioner, the penalty shall be double the aforesaid fine and imprisonment. In case the violation is committed by a partnership, corporation, association, or any other juridical person, the partner, president, director, or manager who has committed or consented to or knowingly tolerated such violation shall be held directly liable, and consented to or knowingly tolerated such violation shall be held directly liable and responsible for the acts as principal or as a co-principal with the other participants, if any.
Section 40. Appropriations. The chairperson of the Professional Regulation Commission shall immediately include in the Commission's programs the implementation of this Act, the funding of which shall be included in the Annual General Appropriations Act and thereafter.
Section 41. Transitory Provision. Within 90 days from the effectivity of this act, the DTI Bureau of Trade Regulation and Consumer Protection, BTRCP, shall transfer all pertinent records, documents, and other materials to the Professional Regulatory Board of Real Estate Service.
Section 42. Implementing rules and regulations. Within six months after the effectivity of this act, the Commission, together with the Board and the Accredited and Integrated Professional Organization of Real Estate Service Practitioners, the Department of Finance, and the CHED, shall prepare the necessary rules and regulations, including the Code of Ethics and Responsibilities for Real Estate Service Practitioners, needed to implement the provisions of this act.
Section 43, Separability Clause. If any clause, sentence, paragraph, or part of this act shall be declared unconstitutional or invalid, such judgment shall not affect, invalidate, or impair any other part of this act.
Section 44, Repealing Clause, Sections 3E and E of Act No. 2728 as amended by Act No. 3715 and Act No. 3969, Sections 472 and 473 of the Local Government Code of 1991, Republic Act No. 7160, and pertinent provisions of the Civil Service Law are hereby modified accordingly. B. All laws, decrees, executive orders, department or memorandum orders, and other administrative issuances or parts thereof which are inconsistent with the provisions of this act are hereby modified, superseded, or repealed accordingly.
Section 45, Effectivity. This act shall take effect 15 days following its publication, in the Official Gazette, or in a major daily newspaper of general circulation in the Philippines.
Approved. SGD. Juan Ponce Enrile, President of the Senate. SGD. Prospero C. Nograles, Speaker of the House of Representatives. This act, which is a consolidation of Senate Bill No. 2963 and House Bill No. 3514, was finally passed by the Senate and the House of Representatives on May 12, 2009. SGD. Emma Lirio Reyes, Secretary of Senate. SGD. Marilyn B. Barrio, YAP, Secretary General, House of Representatives. Approved June 29, 2009. SGD. Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, President of the Philippines. Thank you and good luck. Please like, share, and subscribe.